We're just waiting for it to stop raining under a tree. So, we've just had a torrential downpour, as is typical in Havana. Pours for about 20 minutes, hide under a tree, pop out, and away you go again. Okay, let's go for a walk through the cemetery. Cool. Don't know whether you can read that, but it's interesting. We'll see at the other end of the cemetery the gentleman who booted out of power. A lot of these graves are in very poor condition. The salt air makes them fall apart. As was a function of the time, a lot of the graves from around the 50s and earlier are buried according to societies and fraternities, workplaces, and I don't know whether I'd want to be buried with my fellow employees from my company, but it's the way it worked. You'll find guilds, lawyers' guilds, police officers' guilds, firemen's guilds, all over here as well. And then at the front of the cemetery there'll be these huge mausoleums just for individual people. It was sort of a race to see or to show who was the richest. So they'd build the biggest graves. Yeah. Who says you can't take your money with you after death? Oh, there you go. One thing that happens here often is people actually open the graves to try and look in, see what they can nick. They'll loot the graves of any valuables they find and other bits and pieces. Because this place is huge, we can't really show you the whole thing. It would take hours, like literally hours, to walk through this entire place. And if you're not familiar with the cemetery, the streets are actually a model of Vedado in miniature. So you've got Kali 6 here. You've got letters running one way, so from A to N, and then you've got from 1 to 23, I think, from memory, but I'll correct that in the video description, running in the diagonal. It's sort of the case here, try not to get ran over as well, but thankfully there's not a lot of cars in this part. The cemetery is the one place in town where you won't always be hearing roaring engines and angle grinders, jackhammers, blaring reggaeton. It's actually quite peaceful. So if you're staying in Havana for a long period of time, it's generally the place to come, just wander, you know, when you need time out from the very crazy city that this is. Okay, I'll turn this off now and I'll turn us back on when I get closer to the main entrance. So we just found this one, which looks like a whole castle. That'd all be imported marble. Very expensive. Very cool. And around here, we're now going into the main street. Proper lights on the back of this pyramid. They can actually let daylight in and reflect it down into the mausoleum. Huge tombs. They're all getting up into the much bigger end of the cemetery, where the graves just get massive. Oh, that goes right down. 1951, 26 December 1936. Wow. Probably the biggest one in town. It's the biggest mausoleum by a long shot. Oh yeah, this is the fire. Yes. Fireman. It's a monument to the fireman who died in 1896, 1897. Died on 1897 and saved everyone from massive blaze. Well, you can see how rich Havana used to be. That's all imported marble. Graves down there. Yeah, more firemen. A fireman who died in active service. I haven't really gone that far. This place is massive. Pyramid. Cathedral. Suspicious. Suspicious son is actually around here somewhere. I'll show you that one. It's really interesting. Back in a second. Alright, still raining a little. We're coming up on Cespedes. Now, all the tour guides skip over it, but this is the grave I find most interesting in this particular cemetery. And for those of you who read Spanish, read this. It reads, for me there'll be no spilling of Cuban blood or external intervention. It's worth looking up, Cespedes. He was pretty much the world's most awarded diplomat ever. Look, Gringolandia, as some of the other channels will call it, all the Americans. Show you one more grave before we go. Be right back. Now, we've managed to escape the very large, very foreign tour group, and we're going for a little walk without them, and trying not to get run over in the process. I think over here, if I remember, it's the Coffee Dog's grave. Hang on, I'll just turn it off for a minute. More graves that have been looted. Oh, somebody's peeled them open. I check to see if they could steal anything. These ones have just fallen down. They collapse after a while if they're not properly maintained. much like the buildings. Casada family. I'm guessing that one's newer. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't look very good. No, big crack through the ceiling. Getting more up to the back end, so we're walking, the direction we're going is Nuevo Vedado, whereas behind is Vedado. This is like sort of in between, but the streets are pretty much a miniature map of the real Vedado. Or the original Vedado. Yep. Mausoleums everywhere. Let's go across. This funky sort of corner end where they put everyone in the boxes until they decompose and then pull the bones out. Oh, no, let's see there. Yeah. It's very quiet, peaceful. Birds are chirping. No one's running an ankle grinder or a jackhammer or blaring reggaeton. It's lovely. Because everyone... here's the other thing. Because everyone thought I came in the main gate. And I've already been offered a tour guide. I don't get chased by people trying to sell me tours. And the rear gate, you just walk straight in. The front gate, you're going to get hustled by every tour guide, a person trying to sell you something, like you do everywhere else in Havana. But if you just quietly wander around and in through the back gate, yeah, no stress, no hassle. You can just quietly walk around, learn the history. And there's little snippets on every single grave here that's... You're not going to find this information anywhere else. Like, if you want to see how the Cubans lived, read their graves. It tells you everything you need to know about them. Yeah, so it's not up there. I'll go back this way. What I'm searching for is a particular grave. Has a nifty little dog statue at the end of it. It's got a little story. Let's see if we can find it. And let's see if there's not a million tourists crammed all over it. We are going back down near the main avenue though, like the central, so from the main entrance to the central cathedral, that main street, so it might get a bit noisy again. Well, let's have a look at this one first. This one's been fixed up, or maintained at least. Very interesting. Yeah, I thought the grave was over there. Looks like it is. There's a million tourists going that way. Big tour bus where they've bussed in a whole bunch of tourists. It might be the Golden Water. Don't think it is. Not what I'm after. Interesting surname. I know. There was no Rocky movie in Havana. For you cinema buffs. So as it turns out, the tourists don't even walk across the cemetery. They've got this like huge bus and car convoy that drives them from one end to the other, or one side to the other, or what is effectively a 4-minute walk. So now there's a massive traffic jam. Just get a look at this. Let's avoid them. More tourists. If you're going to travel, research the destination. If you want to know something about Cuba, just go to the link in the description to the website. We tell you everything you need to know. And you pack a suitcase, you buy a cheap ticket, you come to Cuba, and you hop on, Airbnb, you book some Airbnb accommodation in one of the Casa Particulars, so you're supporting a local business. Why just get crammed into buses with a bunch of other tourists from the same country and get driven all over the place from, 5-star hotel to 5-star hotel? And when they call them 5-star hotels, they're probably 3-star by, actual world standards. Dear God. It's just ridiculous. Everywhere you go, busloads of tourists. Alright, this should be the street we're after. Probably. Place is a bit of a maze. Perito down there or over here? Over here. Ah, I think that's it down there. There's a nice white pot plant. Oh, this is the one. See, this grave is... yeah, this is the right one. This grave is meaningful to the Cubans, as opposed to being meaningful to the tourists. this one means something to the Cubans. Have a read. More tourists coming. Maybe they are going to show them this one. Maybe. What? There you go. You get first look. Alright, now we're going to go back up there. We go out the main gate and we will find some food. Preferably some coffee. Anyway. A little bit of rain, all the tourists run away, but now we're back to peace and quiet, so a couple more to look at. Read that. Sort of behind the jumbo one, and the monument to the firefighters who died. We have the pyramid, because what cemetery isn't complete without the actual pyramid? All normal graves over there, but actual pyramid. See? You guys go to Egypt for pyramids? I come to Cuba. Oh, giant rat. I don't see that. Just have a look at some of these jumbo ones on this other side before we go. So we're very near the Vedado side at the moment. Very close to where we can exit, wander a few blocks and get a decent coffee. That's what really matters. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning now, and I would really like a coffee. And the reason I'm out here filming this one alone is one of the things about Cuba is every Cuban has their main job, and then they have their side job, because their main job doesn't pay enough to do anything, really. Like it's $7 a month or something, and you know, a beer will cost you 5. So the boys run food tours, and in a later video we're actually going to go along on those tours and show those tours. We've got some footage from an American tour group who booked them on Christmas night. We have, say, the cooking and the tour, but then we also have the after event where they were told, or the guests were told politely, don't put anything in the 1950s toilet. If you flush anything other than your business and water, we'll have a problem. And the lovely tourists, on the way out, gave them a tip. It was a bottle of Jamaica's finest curry powder, which is good, but I don't think they understood Cuba. Cubans don't eat spicy food to start with, so that's kind of like a fuck you to them. Then didn't give them any monetary tip, because money is the thing that you should give Cubans. Like, you want to tip a Cuban? Don't give them little fucking trinkets. Give them a real tip in foreign currency. You know, give them dollars, euros, Swiss francs, Canadian dollars. Give them something that is actually useful, that they can trade for the goods and services they need. But going back to Christmas night, these guests were, you know, a little bit naive, I think, and they were politely told, don't put anything in the toilet. We find out after they've left, they have put something in the toilet. And how we found out was all of the sewage decided it was going to back up into the house. So the shower filled with sewage, the bathroom floor filled with sewage, and the two boys were frantically trying to mop shit back down a drain so that it didn't contaminate the rest of the house. Yeah, that's how they spent Christmas night. So, yeah, thank you, Americans. But, yeah, here's this big grave. Back to what we're here for. Got this huge one on a hill. Oh, and we're going to get so wet in about, let's say 5 minutes. So very wet. Anyway, I think that's enough of the Cristóbal Colón Cemetery for one day. Because the cemetery is between Nuevo Vedado and Vedado, and I go to Vedado a lot, it's actually a nice walk just to, you know, walk a couple blocks, wander through the cemetery. It's nice and quiet. So you'll probably see this place a lot in upcoming videos, but yeah, for now, we're going to go back to the gate. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go back to the gate. I'm then going to wander about 3 or 4 blocks, which is funny because tourists here don't walk. And then I'm going to go find myself there's a school / orphanage. I'm not too sure of what it was. Can't remember. But yeah, it gives kids after school learning and care and attention, and teaches them dance moves and all kinds of stuff. But they have a really nice coffee shop, and everything that they sell, absolutely everything, is produced in Cuba. So I'm going to go and get some brunch. Anyway,